Hello students, I am Dr. Manjulata. I would like to speak on lipid chemistry today. So, any topic you are studying, first of all, it should be very clear to you that why you are reading this topic. So, regarding the lipid biochemistry, we can say knowledge of lipid biochemistry is necessary in understanding many important biomedical areas. For example, obesity, this is then diabetes mellitus, atherosclerosis, and also the role of various PUFAs, that is polyunsaturated fatty acids, in nutrition and health. So, as you all know, that excessive fat deposits causes obesity. Then atherosclerosis, how it is caused abnormality in cholesterol and lipoprotein metabolism, leads to atherosclerosis and cardiovascular diseases. Then in diabetes mellitus, you know that metabolism of fatty acids and lipoproteins, they are deranged, leading to ketosis. Now, first of all, we will start with the competency on the lipid biochemistry. You should know this is a competency 4.1. Describe and discuss main classes of lipids, that is essential and the non-essential fatty acids, cholesterol and hormonal steroids, triglycerides, major phospholipids and the sphingolipids. So we'll be discussing all these in detail. So first of all, you should know the definition. Lipids, can be defined as heterogeneous group of heterogeneous compounds which are relatively insoluble in water but freely soluble in non-polar organic solvents like benzene, chloroform, ether, acetone, etc. And you know that they are hydrophobic in nature due to the predominance of the hydrocarbon chains. We can say these lipids are hydrophobic in nature. Then they are important dietary constituents. Why? You know that not only because of their high energy value, but also because of their fat soluble vitamins and the essential fatty acids that are contained in the fats of the natural foods. Then second is they act as fuel, or they provide the major source of energy, that is 9.5 kilocalories per gram. So you know that lipids are even superior to carbohydrates as a raw material for the combustion, since it yields more energy as compared per gram, like 9.5 kilocalories per gram. So lipids are stored in the adipose tissues. You know that fat can be stored in the body in almost unlimited amounts as triacylglycerols in the adipose tissue. Then deposits of lipid may exert an insulating effect from cold. Then next, lipids around the internal organs like kidney, etc., may provide padding and protect the organs. Then also we can say these lipids supply the so-called essential fatty acids which cannot be synthesized in the body and are essential in the diet for the normal health and growth. They serve as thermal insulators in the subcutaneous tissues. Then this I already told you that they give the essential fatty acids. These fatty acids, they cannot be synthesized in the body. So now it's your homework that why these essential fatty acids are not synthesized in our body. This is the question. This is the go home message, that why they are not synthesized inside our body. Just try to see this. And major lipids, that is the phospholipids and cholesterol, they are the structural components of the biological membranes. All these phospholipids, cholesterol, we'll be discussing in detail. Then steroids and prostaglandins, they are acting as metabolic regulators. They also help in the absorption of fat soluble vitamins like A, D, E and K, and act as a solvent for the transport of these fat soluble vitamins. Then cholesterol and glycolipids act as electrical insulators, helping in the propagation of the nerve impulse. So all these are the biomedical importance. Then combinations of lipid and protein, like for example lipoproteins, they serve as the means of transporting lipids in the blood. So this also we'll be covering in detail later on. So in this uh, video, we'll be covering only the lipid chemistry. Bile salts derived from cholesterol act as emulsifying agents. Amphipathic lipids, as they contain both polar and the non-polar this thing, and facilitate the digestion and absorption of the lipids. Then they play a role in the electron transport chain in cellular respiration. They add flavor and taste and improve their palatability, and these fats also increase the satiety value. So these are all about the biomedical importance of lipids. Then comes the, as I told you, that these polar bears, these are few examples that you can imagine how huge stores of fats these polar bears and different other birds, migratory birds, they are having, that they can live without food and water for months, even years. So polar bears use triacylglycerols to survive for a long period of fasting. So what they do, polar bears eat only during a few weeks out of the year and then fast for a period of 8 months or more, consuming no food or water during that time. So it neither urinates nor defecates for the extended periods. Now there is one migratory bird, that is golden plover. A migratory bird flies from Alaska to southern tip of South America. So it covers around 3,800 kilometers over the Pacific Ocean non-stop, during which period they cannot feed and derive their energy from fat reserves. So far-tailed godwit from Alaska to New Zealand. This is another migratory bird. It covers around 11,000 kilometers non-stop. This is very important. Non-stop, without food and rest during the onset of the winter, and complete this task in 8 days. So for 8 days, he flies non-stop without food and also without rest, and returns back to Alaska as spring begins. Now this is very important part, that is the classification. So Bloor's classification is the most accepted one. So accordingly, the lipids are divided into simple, compound, and the derived lipids. So simple lipids, under the simple lipids are your fats and oils. Example, tripalmitin and triolein waxes, example beeswax. So we'll be discussing all these in detail. This is just the classification you should know. If a short note on classification of lipid is asked, so at least you should name these lipids and example with examples. And compound lipids, so majorly they are divided into phospholipids, glycolipids, and the lipoproteins. So phospholipids containing phosphoric acid, this is also very important part of lipids. Phospholipid, again a short note can come on this. So, sorry, if we divide this, uh, first is the nitrogen containing glycerophospholipids. So how you will remember this? First is the phosphatidylcholine, phosphatidylethanolamine, and the serine. So nitrogen containing, under the nitrogen containing glycerophospholipids, it is choline, ethanolamine, and the phosphatidylserine. So please take pen and write down these names at least once, so that you remember the things or you retain the things. So nitrogen containing glycerophospholipids, it is phosphatidylcholine, ethanolamine, and the phosphatidylserine. And non-nitrogen glycerophospholipids covers phosphatidylinositol, then phosphatidylglycerol, and third is the diphosphatidylglycerol, that is cardiolipin. So plasmalogens having long chain alcohol, They are further divided into choline plasmalogen and the ethanol plasmalogen. We'll be discussing the structures of all these in detail. Sphingolipids with sphingosine as alcohols. Then glycolipids, they are again divided into cerebrosides, gangliosides, and the sulfolipids. Then lipoproteins, for example, HDL, LDL, VLDL, and the chylomicrons. And under the derived lipids comes the fatty acids, can be saturated, unsaturated, then glycerol, other alcohols, steroids, of course, with this cyclopentano per hydrophenanthine ring. Example, steroids example, cholesterol, steroid hormones, ketone bodies, lipid soluble vitamins, prostaglandins, terpenes, squalene, and the carotenoids. All these come under the derived lipids. So you should know what is the classification. Now coming to the simple lipids. So what are the simple lipids? These are the esters of fatty acids with various alcohols. So depending upon the type of alcohols, these are subclassified as. So first is the fats and oils. So they are also known as triacylglycerol or triglyceride or neutral fats. Why neutral fat? Because they are uncharged. They are termed as neutral fats. They are uncharged. That's why they are known as neutral fats. Then the these are the esters of fatty acids with glycerol. So the alcohol moiety is glycerol in this. Fat is solid and oils are triacylglycerols that are liquid at room temperature. So a fat in the we can say fat in the liquid state is called an oil. For example, we can say vegetable oils. For example, vegetable oils like groundnut oil and the mustard oil, etc. Then comes the waxes. So these are widely used in pharmaceuticals, waxes, cosmetics, and other industries in the manufacture of lotions, then ointments and the polishes, etc. So what are the waxes? Waxes, these are the esters of fatty acid, usually long chain with alcohols other than glycerol. So these fats and oils contain alcohol such as glycerol, whereas these contain other alcohol. These contains alcohols other than the glycerol. So waxes doesn't contain glycerol. These alcohols may be aliphatic or alicyclic. So cetyl alcohol is the most commonly found in waxes. So this keeps skin lubricated and waterproof. For example, sperm whale wax, beeswax, and the carnauba wax. These are some of the examples of the waxes. Now coming to the alcohol. So depending upon the different types of alcohols, we have different kinds of lipids. For example, glycerol. This is a kind of alcohol. So um, by combining this glycerol moiety, triacylglycerols are formed. Okay, cholesterol. This is also a kind of alcohol. Then higher alcohols are there in the cetyl alcohol. So glycerol, commonly called glycerin. This is the example. So this structure should be on your tips: CH2H, CHOH, and the CH2H. So try to make these structures once while seeing this video. CH2OH, CHOH, and the CH2OH. This is an structure of glycerol. Then glycerol, commonly called glycerin, simplest trihydric alcohols as it contains three hydroxyl groups in the molecule. It is a colorless oily fluid with a sweetish taste, so soluble in water and alcohol but almost insoluble in ether. Then this is very important, how to make this triacylglycerol or the triglyceride. So this is by the ester formation. You can see here glycerol, CH2OH, CHOH, CH2OH, then three fatty acids are there, RCOOH. So this is how only you will make a fatty acid structure. It is a RCOOH. Okay, so this R is the hydrocarbon chain. So due to this hydrocarbon chain, this is hydrophobic in nature. Okay, and this COOH, this is the polar end. So this fatty acid is, we can say, amphipathic. It has both polar and the non-polar moiety. Okay, non-polar, that is hydrophobic. This hydrocarbon chain. and this is the polar moiety. So when this combines with the ester linkage, this triacylglycerol is being formed. You can see here OH and H. This will be out and three molecules of water are formed, and this is how a triacylglycerol RCOCH2 RCOCH2 RCO. So you should try to practice this structure of triglyceride. So triesters of trihydric alcohol glycerol with various fatty acids, because uncharged, as I told you, known as neutral fats, widely distributed in both plants and animals, insoluble in water but soluble in organic fat solvents, non-polar in character, most abundant group of storage fuel of lipids. This is so you know that fats are stored in the adipose tissue in the form of triglyceride or the triacylglycerols. So now coming to the physical properties of triacylglycerol, neutral fats are colorless, odorless, and the tasteless. The specific gravity of all fats is less than 1. Consequently, all fats float in water. This is the reason why fats float in water, as the specific gravity is less than 1. The emulsification of dietary fats in intestinal canal brought about by the bile salts is the prerequisite for the process which is responsible for the digestion and absorption of fats. Emulsification, then melting point and consistency. Hardness or consistency of fats is related to their melting point. Glycerides of the lower fatty acids melts at lower temperature than those of the higher fatty acids, and the unsaturated fatty acid glycerides at still lower temperature. Now the chemical properties. So the fats may be hydrolyzed with superheated steam, then acids or alkalis. So these are the process of hydrolysis which is taken up with superheated steam. Even these triacylglycerols are hydrolyzed by acids or alkalis. Like for example, soaps are formed in this by the specific fat splitting enzyme lipases. Also hydrolysis takes place, then stepwise hydrolysis leads to the final liberation of fatty acids and the glycerol. As you have just now seen that how triacylglycerols are formed with the help of glycerol and the fatty acids by the ester linkage, and three molecules of water are released. So triacylglycerol, so after hydrolysis of a triacylglycerol, what all we get? We will get fatty acid as well as the glycerol. So now lipases are found in human body in the following places: lingual lipase in the saliva, gastric lipase in gastric juice, pancreatic lipase in the pancreatic juice, then intestinal lipase in the intestinal epithelial cells, then adipolytic lipase in the adipose tissue and the serum lipase. So this is the reaction saponification. In this is a triacylglycerol. When this is hydrolyzed with an alkali NaOH, then glycerol and the soaps are formed. These are the salts of fatty acids. So this is how you can make R1, R2, R3 as the this is a hydrocarbon chain. This varies, कुछ भी हो सकता है, लॉन्ग चेन हो सकती है, शॉर्ट चेन, दैट्स व्हाई दिस कैन वेरी. इट कैन बी इवन मोनो अनसैचुरेटेड हो सकती है, पॉली अनसैचुरेटेड हो सकती है, अनसैचुरेटेड हो सकती है. इट कैन हैव डबल बॉन्ड्स, वन डबल बॉन्ड हो सकते हैं, टू डबल बॉन्ड, सो डिपेंडिंग ऑन दैट्स व्हाई दिस आर वेरीज. So hydrolysis of fat or triacylglycerols by an alkali into the glycerol and the alkali salts of fatty acid, this is the soaps are formed by this reaction, and this is known as saponification. Soaps, you know, they are the cleansing agents because of their emulsifying action. Now there is one more chemical property of a triacylglycerol, that is rancidity. So you should know that these rancid fats, these are basically oxidized, and these are not suitable for taking in our diet. This should not be consumed. So the term rancidity refers to the appearance of an unpleasant smell and taste for fats and oils. So fats containing unsaturated fatty acids are more susceptible to rancidity. The double bonds in fatty acids, when exposed to oxygen, form peroxide linkage and generates free radicals, which damages the cell membranes. So causes are when fats and oils are exposed to air, moisture, light and bacteria. So hydrolytic due to the partial hydrolysis of triacylglycerols by the bacterial enzymes, and oxidative when oxygen is required due to the oxidation of the unsaturated fatty acids. Then what will happen? Unpleasant products such as dicarboxylic acids, aldehydes, ketones, peroxides, etc. they are produced, or then we can say rancid fats and oils are unsuitable for human consumption. This is one of the property, rancidity of fat. So now fatty acids. What are the fatty acids? These are basically the carboxylic acids with a long chain, with a long hydrocarbon side chain. It can be 2 to 36 carbons. Hydrocarbon chain accounts for non-polar nature of the fatty acids. So this view should be clear in front of you. Over here on your left hand side you should always draw R or the hydrocarbon chain, and on your right hand side should be the carboxyl group, because this will be easier for you to learn the structure of such unsaturated fatty acids, different PUFAs, because a short note on PUFAs can come. You should know how to draw the structures. So picture should be clear in front of you. Over here on your left hand side is a hydrocarbon chain starting from CH3, CH2, CH2 and so on. And over on the left hand side is the carboxyl group. So try to make the structure of a fatty acid, any fatty acid chain with me. COOH is the carboxyl group. So this is the polar end, we can say, or the hydrophilic end, and this is the non-polar end or the hydrophobic end. So this is very important nomenclature of fatty acids. So the naming of fatty acids is based on the hydrocarbon chain from which it is derived. So saturated acids end in the enoic, example actinoic acids, unsaturated end in enoic with double bonds, enoic with double bonds, example octadecanoic acid, example is the oleic acid. Oleic acid is the common name, it is otherwise known as octadecanoic acid. So it is one of the, so now this is very important nomenclature, different conventions are there in different books. So you should be very clear with this, that this is a, this is octanoic acid I have drawn here. You can see here, and this is how you will be making the structure. Over this side should be a, on the left hand side should be a methyl end, and on the right hand side should be always make the structure of a fatty acid, any fatty acid you are making like this only, that on your left hand side is your omega end, we can say methyl end, and on the right hand side is your carboxyl end or carboxyl carbon. So now carbon atoms are numbered from the carboxyl carbon. It is numbered from here 1, 2, 3 and so on. Now this carbon number 1 and adjacent ones are 2, 3 and so carbon, this carboxyl carbon you can say it is carbon number 1, and then adjacent ones are 2, 3, 4 and so on. So carbon number 2 is known as the alpha carbon. You can see here 2 is known as the alpha carbon. Then 3 is known as the beta carbon, and the end methyl carbon, this is known as the omega carbon or the N carbon. So always remember, this should be the picture of a fatty acid moiety in front of you, that on the left hand side is your methyl end or the omega carbon or omega end we can say, or the N carbon, and on the right hand side is your carboxyl carbon, and the numbering should start from here. Carboxyl carbon is the 1 and adjacent ones 2, 3, 4 and so on. So I think this is clear to you, because this is very important. See, if you don't know the chemistry part, you cannot learn metabolism. So it is very, you should be clear with the chemistry part, then only you will be able to understand the metabolism. easily. So now you can see here, starting from the methyl end, the carbon atoms in a fatty acid are numbered as omega 1. Now if we start numbering from here, so you have to number like this: omega 1, omega 2, because this is the omega end or the methyl end. So you can write down like this is the omega 1, this is omega 2, this is omega 3. So the widely used convention is to express the fatty acid formula to indicate the number of carbon atoms, then number of double bonds, and the position of the double bond. So this is the widely used convention. So I am explaining this with the help of an oleic acid. You can see here oleic acid is written as 1819. So what does this mean? 18 means number of carbon atoms, then 1 means, and it is separated by colon and the semicolon. You can see here. So always when we say oleic acid, picture should be clear in front of you that 1819 is oleic acid because it contains number of carbon 18 number of carbon atoms. It has one double bond, so this depicts the number of double bonds, the middle figure, and after the semicolon 9 is there. So this means 9 indicates the position of double bond from the carboxyl carbon. So this is very important. This 9 means the position of double bond from the carboxyl carbon. Carboxyl carbon is here. So now if I say what is oleic acid and what is 1819, so you should know that we are talking about 1819. It means we are talking about oleic acid. It has 18 number of carbon atoms. It has one double bond, and the position of double bond from the carboxyl carbon is 9. Okay, then there is one more convention. We say that it is a member of omega 9 family. So what does this mean? So as I told you, this represents omega 9 represents the double bond position 9 and 10 from the omega end. So this is the omega end, methyl end is the omega end. So start counting the position of first double bond from the omega end. So in case of oleic acid, it is at the ninth position. When we start, this is another, I will explain this with the help of this oleic acid also. So omega 9 represents the double bond position 9 and 10 from the omega end. Then there is one another convention, that is delta n. So this indicates position of these double bonds. ठीक है, for example अगर हमने लिखा है delta 912, so this indicates double bonds at C9 and C12 starting from the carboxyl end. So always remember, if we have written like this 1819, so this I have shown you, this is the structure of oleic acid. You can see here carboxyl carbon is here, है ना? This is the methyl end. Now as I told you that 1819, this means this whole oleic acid contains 18 carbon atoms. How? 1, 8, 9, 10, again 10 plus 7, 17, and 1, 18. So it has 18 carbon atoms. Okay, it has one double bond. One double bond is there in this structure. And what does this 9 means? This 9 means this is the position of double bond from the carboxyl carbon. If we count this from here, this 9 means position of double bond from the carboxyl carbon, and this omega 9 means that this is the a member of omega 9 series. So how you will decide this, why it is a member of omega 9 family or omega 9 series? That if we count this from here, from the methyl end or the omega end, this 9 यहाँ पे आएगा. ठीक है, position of first double bond यहाँ पे आएगी. See, this is a coincidence also that this, when we count the number of carbon atoms, so this is in between. In case of oleic acid, this is in between. So this is a coincidence also. So we can take other examples. So now up till you should be clear with this that oleic acid, it is 1819 and it is a member of omega 9 series. Now classification of fatty acids. Depending on total number of carbon atoms, even chain, this possess carbon atoms 2, 4 and 6 etc. And most of the naturally occurring lipids contain even chain fatty acids. For example, palmitic acid and the stearic acid. Palmitic acid contains 16 carbon atoms and stearic acid contains 18 carbon atoms. Then comes the odd chain, have carbon atoms 3, 5 and 7 etc. seen in the microbial cell wall. For example, propionic acid contains 3 carbon and valeric acid 5 carbons. So odd chain fatty acids are also present in the milk. Then depending on the length of the hydrocarbon chain, short chain with 2 to 6 carbon atoms, medium chain with 8 to 14 carbon atoms and long chain with 16 and above, usually up to 24 carbon atoms. So depending on the nature of hydrocarbon chain, they are divided into saturated fatty acid, unsaturated fatty acid, branch chain fatty acid and the substituted fatty acids. So this is another classification depending upon the nature of the hydrocarbon chain. Now coming to the saturated fatty acids, okay? The general formula you can learn containing 10 carbons or less number of carbon atoms are called lower chain fatty acid. These are the examples: acetic acid, propionic acid, butyric acid and the caproic acid. So milk contains significant amount of lower chain fatty acids. Then saturated fatty acids with more than 10 carbon atoms, they are called as higher chain fatty acid. Example you can learn: palmitic acid, stearic acid. Palmitic acid contains 15 carbons, stearic acid contains 17 carbons. Then comes, this is very important, unsaturated fatty acids. So classified according to the degree of unsaturation. How it is classified? This is classified according to the degree of saturation. So monounsaturated fatty acid, it means one double bond. So just now we studied this. Oleic acid is an example of monounsaturated fatty acids. It is designated like this 1819, and again it is a member of omega 9 series. Now second is the linoleic acid. Okay, this is one of the PUFA, that is polyunsaturated fatty acid. So this is very important. Always a short note on PUFAs are asked, and if you make these structures, because these structures they are drawn in a very easy way, so you can, rest of the things remains the same like this. You can draw an linoleic acid. This is 18 to 912. What does this mean? It means 18, this 18 before the colon is, tells us that it has 18 number of carbon atoms. Now in between 2 is there, between colon and the semicolon 2 is there. This 2 means it has 2 double bonds. So this linoleic acid contains 2 double bonds. Then 9 and 12, this is the position of double bond from the carboxyl carbon. Always remember, don't confuse. This is the position of double bond from the carboxyl carbon, and if we say that it is a member of omega 6 series, it means that the when we count this linoleic acid from omega end or the methyl end, the first double bond position is at the sixth position. That's why we say it is a member of omega 6 series. So don't confuse with this. These are two different conventions. This is one convention, 18 to 912. And what about oleic acid? Oleic acid is 1819. It is linoleic acid is 18 to 912, and it is a member of omega 6 series. Omega 6 because it contains a double bond attached to C6 when counted from the non-polar omega end. Okay, this is the non-polar omega end. This is the polar end. Dietary sources: linoleic acid is present in sufficient amounts in the peanut oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, and the egg yolk, etc. Then comes the linolenic acid. This is also very important, one of the PUFA. It it is designated as 18. 18 means number of carbon atoms. Then three double bonds are there in linolenic acid, and at positions 9, 12, and 15 from the carboxyl end. This is a general formula, and it is a member of omega 3 series. It means that when we count from here, from the methyl end or the omega end, the position of first double bond is at the third position. So that's why it is a member of omega 3 series. So dietary sources found frequently with linoleic acid, but particularly present in linseed oil, rapeseed oil, soybean oil, fish viscera, mustard oil, and the liver oil, etc. So you need to learn these examples also. Now coming to the third arachidonic acid, PUFA, it is 24, 5, 8, 11, and 14. So 20 means number of carbon atoms 20. Arachidonic acid contains 20 carbon atoms. It has 4 double bonds at positions 5, 8, 11, and 14 from the carboxyl carbon. If we count this, if we draw this structure of arachidonic acid and if we count from the carboxyl carbon, so at the 14th position, 11th position, 8th position, and the 5th position double bond is there. So, and it is a member of omega 6 series because if we count from here, this is the methyl and 1, then 4. So, this will become 5th position and 6th position. So, at the 6th position from the methyl end or the omega end, we have the position of first double bond. So, that's why it is a member of omega 6 series. Then dietary sources found in small quantities with linoleic acid and the linolenic acid, but particularly found in peanut oil, also found in the animal fats, including liver fats. So these three PUFAs are called as essential fatty acids. They have to be provided in the diet as they cannot be synthesized in the body. So this is your homework, that why they are not synthesized in the body. Because don't accept the things like this. I always used to tell you, you should go for how and why. So this is an overview of all these unsaturated fatty acids. This is an example of monounsaturated fatty acid, oleic acid designated as 1819. So these are the different convention. This is the one convention how you name these fatty acids, and this is another convention omega 9 that it is a member of omega 9 family. And linoleic acid 18 to 912. So this is how you can learn in the same order. Don't disturb this order. Oleic acid, linoleic acid, linolenic acid, and the arachidonic acid. It is 1819, 1829, 12, then 18, 3, 9, 12, and 15. And arachidonic acid is 24, 5, 8, 11, and 14. Because if you learn in this order, you will never forget this, you will remember this, you will retain these things for a longer time. So now Oleic acid is a member of omega 9 series, then linoleic and the arachidonic both are the member of omega 6 series, and this linolenic in between this is a member of omega 3 family. Now coming to the branch chain fatty acids. So occur in animal and plant lipids, example sebaceous glands. Sebum contains branch chain fatty acids. So this branch chain fatty acid is present in certain foods, examples phytanic acid in the butter. See, there are many things which you have to learn to appear in your university exam. So don't see the things like this, that being doctor, why you are reading these things. Many things you should know to appear in your very exam also. You have to clear your university exam also. So you have to do these things. You have to claim these things. So substituted fatty acids in hydroxy fatty acids and the methyl fatty acids. One or more of the hydrogen atoms they are replaced or substituted by the hydroxyl group or the methyl group respectively. In hydroxy fatty acids, hydroxyl group is substituted in the methyl fatty acid, methyl group is substituted. So both saturated and unsaturated hydroxy fatty acids, particularly with long chain, are found in nature. Example, beta hydroxybutyric acid, cerebronic acid of the brain, glycolipids, then ricinoleic acid in the castor oil, and the lactic acid of the blood. Then comes the cyclic fatty acids bearing cyclic groups. They are present in some seeds, example, colmupric acid obtained from the colmupra seeds, then hydrocarpic acid, etc. These are used in the treatment of leprosy. Then comes the properties of fatty acids. So regarding the solubility, fatty acids are predominantly, as I told you, they are non-polar in nature because of the long hydrocarbon chain. And as soon as I tell you fatty acids, so picture should be clear in front of you that on the right hand side is the carboxyl group, that is the polar end or the hydrophilic end, and on the left hand side is your methyl end or the hydrocarbon chain is there, or the omega end, that is the hydrophobic part of the. So this is the non-polar non-polar. This accounts for the insolubility of the lipids in the water and this is the reason for the insolubility of lipids in the water and other polar solvents and solubility in the non-polar solvents. Melting point of fatty acid is dependent on two factors. Number one, level of unsaturation of hydrocarbon chain. So what will happen? The melting point falls as the number of double bonds increases. So remember this. Then comes the chain length of fatty acids, and wherever there is increase in the chain length, this results in the elevating of the melting point. Saturated fatty acids of less than 8 carbon atoms are liquid at physiological temperature, whereas those containing more than 10 carbons, they are solids at this temperature. Soap formation, I already told you that fatty acid reacts with alkalis such as NaOH or KOH to produce corresponding salts, that is known as soaps. Then one more property, hydrogenation. The double bonds of unsaturated fatty acids can be hydrogenated in the presence of catalyst. Example, nickel to yield the corresponding saturated. So we get the corresponding saturated fatty acid when hydrogenation is taking place. Then next is the halogenation. So double bonds of unsaturated fatty acids are capable of adding halogens, the result of which are dihalogen fatty acids are formed. So this property is often used to assess the extent of unsaturation in the fats and oils via reaction with the iodine to obtain the so-called iodine number. So nowadays these methods are obsolete. Previously we used to do this, that to find out the iodine number. By knowing the iodine number, we can tell that the particular fat or oil is saturated or not. So iodine number is number of grams of iodine required to saturate 100 gram of the lipid. So the higher the iodine number, the more unsaturated the oil. So this is very important, that higher the iodine number, the more unsaturated the oil is. And oxidation, of course, this is a very important property. Unsaturated fatty acids can spontaneously react with atmospheric oxygen to form fatty acid peroxides, epoxides, and aldehydes. So this property we have already discussed. You know, rancidity, that is a property of oxygen when these lipid or any fat, when it is oxidized, so it becomes rancid. So this rancid fat is unpleasant in taste and smell and can be toxic also. So rancidity is prevented by antioxidants. Example, vitamin E. So degree of rancidity is measured by acid number. This is also one of the method that is obsolete nowadays. Number of what is acid number? Acid number is the number of milligrams of KH required to neutralize fatty acids in 1 gram of fat. Now comes the isomerism in the unsaturated fatty acid. This also can be asked. Two types of isomers can occur. Geometric isomers, this occur in the unsaturated fatty acids depending on the orientation of atoms or groups around the axis of the double bonds which do not allow rotation. So cis and the trans forms. Nearly all naturally occurring unsaturated fatty acids are in cis configuration. So this form is comparatively unstable and is more reactive. This unstable, cis form is unstable and is more reactive. So you should know this. You can see here, this is the cis form, oleic acid. So cis and trans forms differ in physical and chemical properties. Cis as in oleic acid, trans as in, this is the trans form as in allylic acid. So consumption of trans fatty acids is now known to be, that now a concept of this trans fatty acids have been introduced. We will be discussing this also in the next video. So to health and is associated with increased risk of diseases including the cardiovascular disease as well as the diabetes mellitus. So this has led to improved technology to produce soft margarine low in trans fatty acids or containing none at all. Now, the biological significance of cis-trans isomerism, you have read this in your topic of membranes also, that this cis double bonds, they are responsible for the fluidity of the membranes. Why? Because they produce kinks. The cis double bond introduces kinks or the bends in the structures of fatty acid which prevent compact packing of fatty acid chains of the phospholipids in biological membranes than their trans counterparts. So in this way, cis double bonds are responsible for the fluidity of membranes. Then coming to the biomedical importance of essential fatty acids. So first is the membrane components. So they are the components of phospholipids and form biomembranes. Because the double bonds are in cis configuration, the PUFA molecules are sickle shaped and so they increase the fluidity of the biomembranes. Then comes the structural elements. Polyunsaturated fatty acids are present in high concentration in the lipids associated with structural elements of tissues. So they are the components of phospholipids and form biomembranes. So this is also very important, the biomedical importance of essential fatty acids. This also can be asked as a short note. Then third is the synthesis of prostaglandins and other compounds. So prostaglandins are synthesized from arachidonic acid by the cyclooxygenase enzyme system. This reaction you will read in later in the lipid metabolism. Then effect on serum cholesterol. So what will happen? Ingestion of QFAS increases esterification and excretion of cholesterol, thereby lowering serum cholesterol level. Hence, essential fatty acids have anti-atherogenic effect. So that's why we prefer taking the QFAS, that is polyunsaturated fatty acids. Then there is a role of vision also of this essential fatty acids. So this dietary linolenic acid produces docosahexaenoic acid in the retinal photoreceptor membranes. So it enhances the electrical response of the photoreceptors to illumination. So we can say hence linolenic acid is necessary in the diet for the optimal vision also. Then deficiency manifestations, approximately 2 to 3% of daily calorie intake should be accounted by essential fatty acids. So dietary deficiency is characterized by scaly dermatitis, then poor wound healing and hair loss. The symptoms are readily cured by the dietary linoleic acids. Then comes the lipid peroxidation. This on this also a short note can come. So this is a source of free radicals. So there is a chain reaction. Later in another topic, that is antioxidant system, also we'll be discussing this. This is the um, process in which more and more free radicals are generated. So, peroxidation, that is auto-oxidation of lipids exposed to oxygen, is responsible not only for the deterioration of foods, for example, rancidity, but also for damage to tissues in vivo, inside also, where it may cause maybe a cause of. So, you have seen that nowadays there is a concept of taking multivitamins. So, all these multivitamins they are even in this covid we are taking multivitamins. So the funda of this taking multivitamins is that more and more free radicals are generated in our body in case of any inflammatory conditions, in fever also. So more and more free radicals are generated. So what does this the antioxidants do? Antioxidants scavenge these free radicals. So, the deleterious effects are considered to be caused by free radicals. All these are the free radicals, hydroxyl and the peroxyl radicals, produced during peroxide formation from the fatty acids. So, lipid peroxidation is basically a chain reaction providing a continuous supply of free radicals that initiate further peroxidation and thus has potentially devastating effects. So the effective free radical scavengers in the biological system are glutathione, beta carotenes, and the tocopherols, etc. So besides the antioxidant enzymes, we have antioxidant enzymes like catalase, peroxidases, then glutathione peroxidase, glutathione reductase. These are the antioxidant enzymes. So they are also responsible for scavenging the free radicals. And besides this, there are few antioxidant compounds. So these are the antioxidant compounds. They also play a role in scavenging the free radicals, like glutathione, beta carotenes are there, and the tocopherols. And these are responsible for scavenging the free radicals. So this is all about this. This is one part of the lipid chemistry. So in this, do see the second part of this competency. It will come soon on my channel, and make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to stay updated. Then if you want to study the PowerPoint in detail, then go check the description. Thank you.